Hey guys, I'm Jax, and this is my spoiler review for the third and fourth episodes of the final season of His Dark Materials. So, what did I think of these 2 episodes of television? Well, in these 2 episodes, we have a giant talking polar bear talk to our main character, Harry Potter-esque character, who may or may not be literal sin. This polar bear, and I quote, says, "Yes, little child girl, I can totally repair not so subtle blade, because I am a blacksmith polar bear." I'm just going to cut myself off right there. Before the episode, practiced my polar bear voice, my little accent I was going to do, and I swear, in the mirror, I was nailing it. I was just nailing it. Trust me, I can hear myself now not nailing it. I've gotten stage fright. It's like I imagine people were listening when I know no one's listening. So let's just start again, but I'm just going to not do such a polar bear voice. Little girl, I've got the... Nah, it comes straight away, like you're thinking about that polar bear, you want to do some kind of dark, grisly voice. For a second I thought I had it, but I didn't. So Mr. Polar Bear Man, he's all like, yeah, I could totally rebuild this subtle stabby knife of ultimate destruction and doom, this god-killing knife that it appears to now be that Metatron god-killing knife we're going to need, you know, in the end game of the season. He's like, I could totally repair it. We could do this whole Elrond Lord of the Rings situation. You could be Aragorn. I could be Elrond. Hugo Weaving? Are you kidding me? I love that guy. I'll do this. But imagine polar bear voice. Not that, obviously. I'll just stop trying to do the polar bear voice. I swear to God, as soon as I stop recording, I'll like call a friend and I'll like do this bit and I will just nail it. I know I will. And so he's like, yeah, I could rebuild this whole stabby knife situation or whatever. But then he's like, but you know, with this knife, you're going to go to the land of the dead, and don't go there. Little girl, who may or may not be the Harry Potter of this series, but also maybe the Voldemort, like the original sin. It's a complicated world we live in. And so he says something like that. I'm paraphrasing. Obviously, I'm paraphrasing because there was less stumbling and idiot Australian men screaming in that quote he said. But to answer the first question I said, did I enjoy it? All those things happened. So yes, of course I enjoyed this episode because there was a polar bear in it, and you take away all the other insane fantasy nonsense. There was a polar bear, and he did a whole Elrond thing. But then he was like, but I don't like what you're gonna do. Don't go to the land of the dead. And she's like, I'm gonna go to the land of the dead. And I'm like, well, I don't think we should go to the land of the dead because that sounds like it's gonna be. And wow, turns out in episode 4 we go, and it's a bit. So after staying on the sidelines for the first couple of episodes because her mother was chloroforming her and keeping her prisoner, which is, you know, it makes me appreciate my relationship with my mother. You know, when you watch a relationship with a parent and you're like, oh, well, I thought I had problems, but not so much. But now she's awake and she's free and she's running about with Will, and they're all like, we're in a frozen wasteland, and, you know, this is a bit of a pause moment before the action begins. We go to the land of the dead, so let's just have some teen angst for like 15 minutes. You forget that when you're a teenager, you just were filled with this like kind of feeling where you're just going to be mean and angry and just like yell at someone, and then 5 seconds later be like, I'm so sorry, I didn't mean that, and you're just like filled with angst. Angst is the ultimate word to just describe teenagehood. I was trying to think before, I'm like, it's just such teenage angsty angst. It's just angsty, and it upset me, and I was like, let's stop this and get back to the magic and the wonder of this world. And then almost immediately, like as I thought that, she's like, let's go meet the polar bear, talking polar bear. He can fix the magic knife that can literally do anything and maybe stab God and kill him. And I'm like, all right, okay. Now we're back to the show I'm watching that I'm here to watch. And then he's all like, I'm gonna Elrond this shit. I'm back to that polar bear. I'm so sorry. I said I wouldn't do it. It just, as soon as I think of him, I keep going, I'm the polar bear. You know what? I might pause, get back into that mirror, see if I can just like, you know, conjure back that accent. Because I was telling you, I was nailing it before. It's like I could have voiced him. I'm now thinking maybe I'm just delusional, and in the mirror there's some kind of psycho narcissism that just like kicks in, which is weird because I hate looking in the mirror because, you know, Land of the Dead plot that comes into episode 4. And the thing that really struck me when we got to the Land of the Dead is how much it just reminded me of in every single American movie or TV show that we've, that's ever existed. It just looked like Mexico. Did anyone else get that when like they got to the Land of the Dead and you're like, oh, so the Land of the Dead is Mexico. It's just south of the border. Am I meant to take something from that? Is this some kind of weird political thing? Like, I don't want to read into this. I know you've just done a weird yellow hue, and for some reason, like Hollywood for the last forever has done a weird Hollywood yellow hue on Mexico. Was it Breaking Bad? I feel like it was Breaking Bad. Land of the Dead. Oh, it's exciting to be here. But is it? I don't know. I feel super mixed about this. I feel like once you get into this kind of hell, kind of purgatory territory, you're stuck in these weird two camps where you're like, okay, are we going to go full, like, blown, demons with horns, fire exploding everywhere, everyone's covered in chains, it's all Hellraiser or whatever. Are you going to do that, or are you going to do something different? But something different always feels like they just go to that weird thing where like, oh, what is hell in my life? Oh, sitting in my office desk job and someone's like, we've got to stand here and wait in line at the DMV. And in this case, they kind of fall into, the latter camp where they're like, yeah, it's like an office desk job kind of situation. Everyone's standing around in a waiting room like they're waiting for a doctor's appointment, but the doctor's never coming, or the doctor does come and he's like, I'm death. It's like, I don't know, something about it didn't feel like super unoriginal and like cliche. We get a scene where they sit down with the ferryman and she's like, let's us all three go. And he's like, only 2 of you can come. And you're like, okay, Will's going to get left behind. That seems weird. Why even bring him? And then he's like, no, Jax, you stupid audience member. It's Pan, the little animal thing, the soul, the demon soul. It cannot come. And I was like, oh, okay, all right, interesting. How is she going to use her words, use her Harry Potter wordsmithing chosen oneness to get out of this? Twist, she doesn't, she can't. And I found that really interesting to her just being like, going through all the motions of like pleading, begging, negotiating, all the things kind of get through this situation, which usually in the past I feel like the character would have kind of gotten away with. Not away with, but she would have found a way around it. But he's like, bro, he's just like, he reminds me of me at work when someone's like trying to be like, come on, bro. I mean, just for me, just this one time. I'm like, bro, I don't make the rules. Like, you're looking at me like I own this giant corporation I work for that hires hundreds of thousands of people. Like, I literally just say what they say. Like, I don't have any say in any of this. Why would you think I would? Does that say CEO of this giant corporation? Do I look like a billionaire? You idiots! Look at my face! Look at this! Does this look like a man who pays $1 million for a shave once a week? I mean, that would be an insane waste of money if you had even if you had $1 billion to spend $1 million on a shave. I was just hitting big numbers. I got carried away. I don't know what big rich people do. I mean, maybe they do. Maybe they spend that much money on shaving. I mean, if they do, I want to be that barber because, geez, it's actually not that hard to shave. I mean, it looks hard when you look at this bit and you're like, well, you're not doing it right. But if I was paid $1 million, I'd get it right. I get it mostly right. I would try my best, and that's the best any of us can do. Ooh, a little bit of a reference to Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio. Has anyone seen it? So Mr. Ferryman Man, who is just some guy. I like that it's just some guy. It's just like, hey, yeah, I don't know. I just do the boat. Everyone hates me, but I just try and be chill about it. And I'm nice sometimes, but what can I do? Just you can't bring your little animal friend. What can I say? And it's just like, just some guy. Love that. But also, I don't know, like the mechanics of it all felt a bit weird to me because I'm like, wait. So they're going to be separated. And she's like, she specifically says, if we're separated like that far, like we just keep going that far, I'll die. And I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe like the law of death or whatever is going to change because she's like in purgatory. Like if you're in purgatory but you haven't died, maybe the rules are different. But it's like, yeah, she said they'd separate. But like that's not even what we've seen. Like the whole series, like all of season 1, her mum, Mrs. Mum character, Mama Lyra, I will remember her name next week. Melissa? It's something like that. It doesn't matter. Mama Bear, and Mama Bear is all like, cut cutting people and they're separating their souls, their demon souls from their bodies, and they're all like zombie dead, like just really weird zombie kind of nothing like people. So what's gonna make what makes her think that separating in this undead land of the dead, whatever, is like, why does she think she'll survive it? Like at the end of the episode, she's screaming, she's like, oh, my heart, it's hurting. Ooh. We do a pan up wide, which, I don't know, it didn't really like hit me with that emotional punch because I was just kind of stuck in the mechanics of it all. And maybe that's just because I'm a dead soulless idiot and I'm just trying to overthink everything. But the whole scene really worked for me. But then just as it was happening at the end, I'm like, wait, but wouldn't she die or wouldn't she become brain dead? Like she's going to just be kind of normal. Like maybe there'll be a bit where she's like, oh, I feel like I'm missing a part of myself. This weird gut feeling they're not going to handle it in a way that's going to emotionally like satisfy me. And I'm going to feel like this whole, you know, big emotional climax of her being like, no, Pan, I've got to go. And she's choosing Roger, a person who is dead. Does she really think she's going to save Roger? Oh God, I hope she doesn't save Roger. If she saves Roger, this whole third season is going to feel like they have no idea what to do with Lyra. Like it just, I don't know. I'm hoping at the end of this, it kind of comes to like a conclusion that makes me go, oh, this is where the whole arc was going. Because season 1, it felt really strong where she's on this like kind of hero's journey to find her father, then finds out, oh, her father's like the bad guy. Then season 2, she just feels like she's along for Will's ride for a lot of the time. And I know that's kind of undermining her a little bit, but I just felt like they were like, Will, he's the most magical person in the world with his magical knife. And she's like, oh my God, pretty cool. I might even fancy him a little bit. I'm like, okay. And now in this third season, she was in a coma for 2 episodes, all chloroformed or whatever. Asleep, essentially. And now, the third episode, she's just like, magic polar bear, fix main hero boy's knife. And 4th episode, she's like, I meet death. Oh my God, I'll get to death in a second. I don't understand that at all. But then she's also like, I gotta go meet Roger and tell him I'm sorry. He knows you're sorry. I mean, he doesn't know you're sorry because he's dead. I think it just comes down to, I do not like this meeting up again with Roger because it just feels like it undermines everything that worked with that season 1 finale. Okay, so I'm going to try and be super brief with this whole rant and angry, I don't understand this bit, but maybe I'm just an idiot. And no, this isn't because I had a corrupted file issue and I had 5 minutes of footage that I can't seem to access. And every time I click on the file, it just shuts down my whole computer and everything just goes wrong and I'm just like... My mood has nothing to do with that. I'm just super mad about this plot point in the show that I watched 5 hours ago because I spent 1,000 million hours dealing with this corrupted file. If anything, maybe I should just do a rant about this corrupted file, but you don't care about that. We're talking about his Dark Materials. What was it? What am I even trying to re-record? Death. They're death friends. They're little friends of death. I don't understand. It's so late now, I don't even care anymore, but it doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why do we need these characters? Like, the character essentially goes, you need to meet your death, you need to embrace death, this death person that's standing around you your whole life or whatever, and you're like, there's just some guy, like, so if I lived in the His Dark Materials world, there's like a guy, but he doesn't look like me, he doesn't look like an older version of me, he's just some guy, some random other person that looks totally different, just watching over my life, like my whole life? Like, even just today, toilet-related / computer-related, I don't want to bore you. No, let me bore you. I'm in a mood. I'm going to do it. I had the dirtiest... No, you know what? Saying it... you can imagine something that happened in the toilet and something that happened while I was watching the computer that you just wouldn't want to, like, see. It's just like... Even I wouldn't want to see. If you filmed me doing that, I'd be like... I know I'll have to do them again because, you know, I'm a human man, but I won't. I refuse. My God, I might have to, you know, pull a Lyra and go to the land of the dead because I'm not doing them again because that was disgusting and horrific. So just imagine being death, just watching those. I've taken this to a dark place. I'm in a dark place. This is what happens when you get corrupted files that ruin your editing process and you spend 3 to 4 hours trying to figure it out and then just go, I'll just re-record. It doesn't even take that long. But when you're in the mood, when you're in the zone, you're like, I just nailed it. Even if you didn't nail it, once you're out of the zone, you come back and you're like, and this happens, this nonsense happens. But I didn't like that death was there. And they're like, death can just, like, you need death to get through these, you know, waiting rooms. And then death is just like, just go down that corridor, right down that corridor. I'm just going to meet that old guy. Sorry, not old guy. Sorry, Greg. That middle-aged man down on the boat, that very old man down on the boat, you're going to meet him. And that's what happened. And that was it. That's all Death was there for. And she's like, well, I'm Death. I watched over you all. Why doesn't she look the same as Lyra? It makes no sense to me. It's not like a wraith or some kind of like Reaper where it's like, ooh, I'm a spooky goblin demon boy or whatever. It's just like a person. Why isn't that person like her, but like at 50 or at 90 or just her at that age? Like I don't know why, but my brain just cuts off at that and just goes, that doesn't make any sense. This show about, golden compasses that tell you the future, this is where I draw the line. So once again, as always, James McAvoy is an absolute delight in this show. I don't think he or Mr. Echo or any of that group appeared in episode 4 at all, but all that stuff in episode 3 was really, really good. I love the bit where he's like, I'm going to use dust to kill this angel, and he's like, angel, tell your maker, I am here. And he does the thing and the angel explodes, and then he's like, ha 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 ha, Mrs. Lady Wife Fret. Oh, she's gone. She didn't like the fact I killed you. You're also gone. No one's in this room. And I liked that Mrs. Lady, I'm going to call her Marissa, and it's probably Melissa. No, let's go with I'm going with Marissa. And Marissa, she's all like, I'm going to grab the spider helicopter world jumping spaceship thingy and bail as he's destroying an angel with dust or whatever the hell is going on. And that was all a lot of fun. I liked the trial of Mama Lyra. I'm going with Mama Lyra because I feel like Marissa is wrong, even though once I finish this episode I'm going to Google it and I'll be like, oh, Marissa was right. I was right. Really loving all the James McAvoy stuff. Love how he's taking front and center stage this season. Just, oh man, missed him in season 2 so much. So having him front and center stage, being all like, look at me, look at my hair pulled back and I'm leading an army, and just loving all that. Loving the two parents who are both monsters and have done monstrous things, particularly in season 1. Like, I don't know, having them both kind of reconcile in a way where there's like a moment where you're like, oh my god, are they going to kiss and make up? Ooh, sexy and hot and all those things. But also you feel good for Lyra because their parents might like, make it work or whatever. But then Marissa, I'm going back with Marissa, am I? Okay, let's do that. So, and then Marissa is like, I'm off in your weird spider helicopter spaceship thing. And he's like, oh, but then right at the end, he like does like a little twinkle in his eye or maybe a wink. He does some kind of thing with the acting in the face. And she's like, oh, he's okay with me going. And then he's like, oh, yeah, let her go be mother. And you're like, oh, yeah, he wants her to go be mother. I like the development of the characters that are the parents. Evil parents turn to maybe the saviors of the universe. I have a feeling there's going to be some kind of they kiss and both stab God at once and everyone dies, and then Lara's like, I've learned some kind of life lesson and I'm now a sad orphan because I'm the main character of a YA novel, and that's par for the course. So in these 2 episodes, lady, professor, teacher, human earth lady, whatever, that character that's just like wandering around being like, I guess I'm still part of this show. What do I... Just walk in that direction. All right, big wide shot. I'll just walk. That's the whole scene. No dialogue. No, I don't meet a character. Okay, walk in that direction. Her plot is, it's nothing. She's just wandering around. But I do have notes. I have notes. One, there's a big wide shot early on. And I feel like it was in the last episode, but I don't know. It didn't really give me this vibe last time, but this time it really did. Like you see all these houses, and they're all covered in moss and like tree stuff, and it just gave me this like. And this isn't because I haven't brushed today. I went to the dentist recently and now we're like, it's all bad in there. So I have been very on point recently. So it isn't because of my own hygiene. Maybe it's because of my fear that in the past my hygiene's not being so good, but now it's so good that it's come to mind. It's, at the center of mind. But I saw all these houses covered in moss and I just had this uncontrollable urge to go and brush my teeth. I was just like, it's like, I know my like electric toothbrush is like charged, but I had to put it on charge just so it was ready for tonight, just to get in there, because it just had this, the mossy, fuzzy vibe of all this, infrastructure and housing covered in moss and green. Even just talking about it now, I'm like, I know there's nothing there. Yeah, really, really upset me. But after that, she's like, I gotta get out of this visual effects heavy land. So she goes to another land and she just wanders about. And it's not set in Australia because I don't know it, but I know it in my heart. But her wandering about just really reminded me of like my mum posting on Facebook when she's doing like a travel to the Kimberleys or some other beautiful, amazing place in Australia, where she like takes a photo and she's wearing a big like kind of hat that's like doesn't not fit, but you're just kind of like, oh, I've never seen her in that hat. It feels like she doesn't wear that hat usually, and she's wandering about, got like that backpack thing on, and it looks a bit uncomfortable, and she's just kind of wandering, be like, oh, this is bloody hot, and it just gave me that vibe. But then that was interrupted because this has never happened to my mum and presumably anybody ever. But a giant horse/elephant magical creature is like, berries? Would you like a blackberry? And water? And she's like, I love some. And then it walks away and she's like, don't leave me here alone. And I was like, what? What? So the Magisterium and Mr. Leader of the Magisterium, whatever his name is, he's all like, I'm building a bomb of mass destruction / just gonna kill this one girl. A bomb that's just gonna kill this one girl. And he's like, but it can world hop. We can kill her in any world. You know, does that whole Dr. Evil thing or whatever. And on one hand, I'm like, that seems OP and insane and crazy. And that's like, how could you possibly get away? How will this not kill her? But it's gonna not kill her because she'll be in purgatory, hell, or land of the dead or whatever. And they'll put the bomb on and then they'll be like, well, the bomb couldn't make it to the land of the dead because, you know, magic and nonsense storytelling and science or whatever. You know, you've seen a stupid show about fantasy, whatever, and they can just say a thing and you go, well, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, of course the bomb that can world hop can't world hop into hell. I mean, that's crazy. That actually, now I'm thinking about it, that is crazy. I like this show. To be clear, I don't know if it's clear, because I just love pointing out things that are weird and don't make sense. But that doesn't necessarily mean that I like don't like it. Often it does. Often it does. But in this case, I'm along for the ride. I've, put my bear-shaped armor on and I'm like, I'm here to... As soon as I think of the bear, the voice... It just comes! Not good. I mean, I actually did put, like, you won't know because of the magic of editing and cinema or whatever, but, to call this cinema, no. The magic of bad video editing on YouTube. I had to clarify that. The idea of putting myself out there and saying this was cinema, I actually felt sick inside as I said that. But the magic of very standard, subpar YouTube video review editing, I had paused for 5 to 6 minutes, maybe 15. I went in the mirror and I was like, I practiced the voice. It was all in my head. It was never good. You won't believe this. The voice was never good. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and comment below. I'd love to know what everyone thought of these 2 episodes of His Dark Materials.